Hey there, it's Lenny McGill with the GlockStore Performance and Custom Shop here in Nashville today. We're not in the studio, as you can see. We're upstairs in one of our training rooms. And today I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite practice routines, which is dry fire. In particular, dry fire with lasers. Concept being that the laser gives you a verification that your technique is good, a verification that you're actually on target, a verification that you can go fast and know that you hit the targets right. Because not only do our lasers put out a laser beam, but they also activate these little targets down here. I'm going to go ahead and show you here in just a second. These 5-inch targets. And there are other targets that kind of come and go here. You can actually lift these guys right out and replace it with another target. But I like the 5-inch option, because 5 inches is pretty darn accurate, especially, at combat, distances, combat speeds. So when you use the laser gun and you activate the target, it beeps, just like that. So it gives you, like I said, that verification that, yes, I'm doing everything correct. I have actually hit the target and I am accurate, which is good. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with a laser, we have a magic bullet, we call it, that actually every time you pull the trigger and the striker activates the bullet, there's a little pad on the back, it will fire a laser module, a laser beam. Okay, so the beam comes out and it activates the targets. Now, you don't need to have activated targets. You can do this on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, or even fold it in half and have, this size piece of paper. All right, so you don't really, like I said, you don't have to always, use these targets. These targets are expensive, but, what the concept is, it does give you the beep. One of the things about laser fire that I really feel is so important is that this technique that you develop here is going to transfer itself to live fire. And if you've watched any of my videos before, you know the concept that what we're trying to do when we're shooting is that we want to keep our head still, we want to keep our eyes fixated on the target, and we want to bring the sights, the firearm sights, into, it's really important now, okay, this is like the key concept of my entire life here, into this sweet spot out here, into my line of sight. So as I present the gun, boom, and I come out to full extension, I know that the sights are pre-aligned, okay? So that is the key concept. Like I said, I've been doing this for 30 some odd years. I did a video called How to Shoot Fast and Accurately. And the concept is boom, every time you bring that gun out, you've practiced enough that the sights are already lined up. I don't really have to look for them, okay? All I have to do is look at the target and bring the sights right into my line of view. And I know that when I come up here, that the front sight is nestled between the rear notch. And it's fairly even. It's not gonna be perfect every time, but at these distances and at the speed I'm looking for, I don't want it to be perfect. I want to be combat accurate, which is basically that 5-inch circle. If I can hit the 5-inch circle in a fast time and do it consistently, I know that I'm doing something right, okay? So I can prove this laser out. I've gone across the room and I've shot 30-yard shots, just sitting there and aiming, squeezing, beep. I can hit that little 1-inch square right here, 1-inch circle, should I say, right here, every time. Okay, so I know that the sights are lined up. So there's no excuse if I miss, because I know that it's just my technique, or I'm going too fast. Now, the other thing about this particular setup, we have our reset trigger, okay? So there's not only the laser module inside, laser bullet in a sense, but there's also a reset trigger. And we've assigned this reset trigger to our pyramid trigger, because I shoot with a pyramid trigger. And the pyramid trigger, is shorter, lighter, crisper, but it still is a workout. Now, because you're pulling the trigger a lot of times. Because we're about to go through a routine where we're going to do 144 trigger pulls in about 10 minutes or less, probably, okay? And that works your trigger pull, but it also works all the other muscles of holding the gun out. I will tell you that I am dry firing, right? Okay, so that means there's no ammo here. This laser module will not shoot live ammo. And I'm using what we call our dummunition. You'll see that the dummunition is basically an inert round. There's no primer. We have drilled a hole in the brass. We have a real 115 grain lead bullet, so it gives the full weight, which is what we want to simulate, okay? Because we don't want to dry fire with a truly empty gun in the sense that it doesn't have that weight. But I will caution you, do not dry fire with a loaded magazine, okay, or with real ammo. This is dummunition. And the reason I use the dummunition is because I want to simulate the weight of a loaded magazine. But I will caution you again, I'll tell you right now, do not dry fire with a loaded magazine. It's that easy, okay, because that's when mistakes happen. Make sure you dry fire in an empty room. You don't want other people around who are going to say, what's going on? Who is that? You don't want people to be driving by a window and see you firing and all that. You want to have, some privacy because, people who are not familiar with you or familiar with firearms may think that, hey, something's going on because he's got a gun in his hand. He's pointing it down, at things. They may not see the whole picture. So be aware of that. Now, so the reset trigger allows you to pull the trigger and it resets itself so that I don't have to rack the slide every time. Every time I pull the trigger, it puts out that laser beam. Boom, just like that. So this setup really can help you develop better skills, better speeds, better accuracy, and the, say, muscle memory of presenting the gun in a fast manner and accessing 3 different targets. Now, I've got my targets set up in different ways. You can do a million different renditions of how you want to do your targets. You can shoot around obstacles like this, if you can, I don't know if you saw that, but basically, we can put different things. You can shoot around corners. You can do all kinds of fun things. Bottom line is I've got a routine here that I do, once or twice a week that, helps me just keep fresh without shooting live ammo. So it's over the course of time, it saved me a bunch of time, but it also saves a bunch of money because, you're not shooting ammo. But the time factor is really what gets me, is that I can do this in 10 minutes and get a lot of trigger pulls, get a lot of muscle memory to that presentation, and my skills stay sharp. And that's what the reset trigger and the laser and those targets are all about. The one other thing I was getting to about this reset trigger and about the laser is you can see, as you pull the trigger, the motion of the gun on the target, because the laser, if the laser or gun is still, absolutely still, and you pull the first shot and you pull the second shot, you'll see if the second shot, if you're yanking on that trigger, you'll see the laser start to blur, actually like a line. So you know that, okay, so my trigger technique is we're trying to present the gun, pull the trigger, and have as least amount of motion as we go through the trigger pull. Now, it's easy with one shot, if you're sitting there and have a nice square dot. But if you come up and you go to the next shot, that's when you start to see motion, okay? And you'll notice that, the way to combat that motion, this is another really important thing, is with the left hand. Or the offhand, okay? I'm right-handed, so my left hand is my offhand. So I really want to have that strong grip here because that helps hold that gun where it's supposed to be. Not to mention in recoil, but also just in trigger pull, in your manipulation of the trigger. In fact, I will tell you that most accuracy problems happen during the manipulation of the trigger. As the person is pulling the trigger, they're moving the gun. So we have the sights lined up, but if they yank on the trigger, I'm exaggerating, the gun moves and accuracy suffers. So we are training ourselves to not only present the gun, but to manipulate the trigger with the least amount of motion to the muzzle as possible. Okay, and again, left hand is important. Being able to really dial in and keep your muscles, shoulder muscles strong so you are managing or controlling the gun. And again, we're not introducing anything about recoil here. We're talking about trigger pull. Just trigger pull alone will, if you master that, that will improve your accuracy from shot to shot. Especially when we're doing double, triple shots. We're not just shooting one bullseye. which is fairly easy to do, right? Okay, I think everybody watching this video can get to that. What we're trying to do is shoot multiple targets as fast as possible. Okay. So let's go through the drill here. And I will tell you again, usually I come out, just do a couple accuracy shots. What you're going to notice in my view, I'm trying to look through the sights, okay? I'm looking at the target and I'm looking through the sights, and I want the sights to line up with my line of sight. So I don't spend a lot of time at these distances, especially these close distances here, actually looking at the sights as much as I'm focusing on the targets. Now anything past, let's say 20 feet, 7 yards, that's when I start to really study the sight alignment and sight picture. Now, study, I mean, take a quick peek at it. Here, come up, boom. I don't really look at it, boom. You know, I know I'm hitting that lens every time, right in the middle of the lens here. So, you know, with practice, and that's what this is all about, you're gonna be able to do just that, snapshot right to the target. So, all right, here's the drill. I'm gonna shoot these 3 targets with 1 shot each from left to right, and then 1 shot each from right to left. I'm gonna do that 4 times. That's gonna be a total of 24 shots. All right, so we're gonna like this. Gonna go beep, beep, beep. That's 1, and again, 2. Okay, that's 1 session, okay? So I went both ways, so 6 shots. That's 1. Here's now, I'm gonna do 4 sets. So there's another one. Missed that one. There's 2. There's 3. That's the 3rd one. Here comes the 4th one, right? Okay, doing pretty good. So I'm hitting the target every time. Sometimes it doesn't beep. If it's out here for whatever reason, yeah. But, you know, bottom line is that's right there, 24 shots, just like that. Now, same thing, okay? I'm gonna go ahead now, and I'm gonna hold the gun and do the same thing with a double tap. And again. Okay, there's 1, 2. All right, there's 3 and 1 more. And it does get tiring, and it should get tiring, okay? That's the idea. You want to push yourself, because holding this gun up there, for one, with a full magazine, a full weight magazine, it is, you know, difficult. And again. All right, so I'm basically 2/3 done with this. That was 48 shots right there. All right, so I did 24 and 48. Now, here we're gonna do triple taps. And this is an interesting concept. I do want to say to you that I've known a lot of USPSA shooters over the years, and they always do double taps. Almost always, all right? It's almost always a double tap. So whenever you try to introduce something different to them, they have a little trouble, because sometimes they're so used to doing 2 versus, which is what happens in the real world. So in the real world, there's not just double taps. Usually it's 5, 6, 8, 10 shots before something really happens to that bad guy. You'll read that in the newspapers. You know, law enforcement, they shot him 50 times. Well, that's because he didn't stop. That's the concept there, okay? All right, so now here we're going to finish this drill. We're going to do 3. Ready? 3 again. That's 2 sets of 3. I got 2 more to do. Each time I come across is 9 shots. Whew. Finger's getting tired. Finger does get tired, okay. It's okay to take a little break. Forearm's getting tired, whole thing, ready? 3 more. Okay, there's 144 shots just like that, literally in less than 5 minutes probably. So the goal and the key to this whole thing is to get to the point where you can feel a little bit of fatigue in your trigger finger, feel a little bit of fatigue in your forearms from holding the gun out there, and get to the point where you are really, like I said, looking at the target, but the gun is in front of your face. And because the gun's in front of your face and kind of aligned with your eye, wherever you look, the gun goes. So that's the key that we're trying to develop, is that you can actually come up and just point the gun and shoot and not really sit there and look at the sights. Just come up. So it's really fun. And it gets to the point where you're going to see that this practice that we do right here translates itself to the range. Now, once I do those drills, I usually kind of mess around a little bit. And today, because I'm going to mess around a little bit, just have a little fun, I've got a concealed carry holster on. This is our $35 holster, okay? Simple, easy holster, has great retention. Boom, boom, boom. Actually, this is so simple because it's so light and so easy. I love the clip. I love to be able to take the gun out and not have to take my belt off. Okay, I wear it in what they call the appendix carry. This is something I was wearing the other night, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to wear this now because I want to show you some concealed carry techniques here, and then we'll talk about, just playing with these targets as well. Because if you're going to carry concealed, okay, and a lot of people are, you need to take the time to dry fire before you go out into the real world with the clothing on that you're actually going to wear, so that you have a realistic scenario. So if I wore this out like so, you obviously can't see the gun, right? That's perfect. Perfectly concealed. The technique to get to the gun, now, I want to say this real quick too. Concealed carry is not about fast draw. It's about having a gun and being aware of the situation so that you can get the gun before something really bad happens. Okay. That said, we know from law enforcement and lawyers that you really can't pull the gun out unless there is a bad situation. You don't want to introduce the gun into a domestic argument, into a fist fight, or into something that is not endangering your life. Now, if it's endangering someone else's life and you feel that there's, I have to do something because someone's going to get killed unless I do something, that's where you've got to start thinking. If it's your life and you feel that you're in danger, that's when you can basically pull out the gun. So, bad guy has to have some intent or a weapon for you to be able to introduce a weapon. You don't want to escalate the violence. The fact of the matter is, if the bad guy is 10 yards away or 15 yards away or 10 feet away even, and you have an opportunity to get away, you should get away. You don't want to pull that gun out unless you have to, all right? So that said, we're going to talk about concealed carry. Again, it's not fast draw, so I tend to do a little bit fast sometimes because I've been doing it for a long time. But the key is to be able to get to the gun safely, to be able to present the gun safely, and don't fumble. When you go fast, sometimes you fumble and you get to, sometimes, it's really interesting. You think it's fast because but slow and smooth is fast. All right? So here's the technique. Obviously, like I said, it varies from person to person, varies what you're wearing. With a sweater like this or even a t-shirt over this, the first concept is to clear the clothing. It's really boom, boom. Next one is to get to the gun, boom, and get a grip on the gun. Get basically a grip while it's still in the holster. So you want to bury that thumb into your body. And I have the web of my hand here, my thumb and index finger, on the beaver tail of the gun. Boom, I'm there. I basically have a grip. As I pull it out, I want to be very careful with this left hand that I don't get lazy. I want to still keep it out of the way because the last thing I want to do is pull it out and then all of a sudden have it get clogged up on some clothes. Luckily, the Glock is designed with nice rounded corners, not a lot of sharp edges. That's not going to snag your clothing, but that is a distinct possibility that you want to be aware of. So again, first step, clear the clothes. Second step, get a grip. Third step, just maintain that clothing clearance. And now we come up and we can get a little faster right here because we know we've got a grip and we're coming up. Now, look what happened, okay? So I'm coming up, and I actually have the gun basically in my possession. Okay, this left hand's about to come on it, but I could still shoot right here had I need to. If someone's rushing me, boom, there's the shot. Last thing I want to do is throw a gun out to someone if, in fact, they're too close and they can actually access that with their hand. So you want to be very aware of that, too. So we don't want to get and present the gun to someone and have them bat it away, because that can happen, because the hand is quicker than the eye. All right, so here we go. So up, boom, boom, boom. All right, and I hit the lens just like I wanted to. So it's 1, 2, 2. So clear. Now, you can do this a whole bunch of different ways. I can do it one-handed too. If I have to stop someone, I have a cell phone in my hand. One up. Now I got to beat the clothes back down. All right. So, practice is the key. Again, I'm not trying to outdraw anybody. All right. That's really never going to really work. If you have to draw fast, you want to at least be able to do it. But more than likely, if you see something happening, the idea is to get to the gun and just keep it there and keep a good grip on it, because now you can come right out. Or you draw and you hide it. What's going on? Okay, oh, nothing. Okay, good. Well, let me put it back away. All right, so the key is to be aware and to get to the gun in a safe manner, so when you come up, you can actually present it. And we've already done all this other practice. So now I don't really have to think about being able to present the gun, because I've done it a million times, or at least a couple 100,000 times. The key here, of course, is to be safe. Reholstering the gun, fingers off the trigger, okay? For the Glock, I like to put my thumb on the back of the slide so they don't knock it out of battery when I put it back in the holster, if I in fact miss. Boom, boom, boom. Now, I don't even have to really look at the holster because I know where it's at, right? So you want to get to that point where you're so comfortable, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to look for it. So I know where the gun's at. I like it here in this appendix carry. Like I said, I've got the body style for it, but I like it here because I know where the gun's at. I have worn it back in the back here. It's okay. It doesn't really suit me that much. I can draw from back there. Same thing, just have to get the clearance out. I will say that I have everything that I was going to wear out. I've got a cell phone right here. I have on, because I don't want to practice and then throw some other things on, and then when I try to go get the gun, all of a sudden something snags up. So practice exactly how you're going to be walking around, whatever the carry is. And again, don't think of it as a fast draw concept. It's really just getting to the gun safely and being able to present. Now look again, my finger is still off the trigger until I get up top here, until I start to point that gun down range. So it doesn't take any extra time to access the trigger. And like I said, you can do it with one hand. All you got to do is practice a little bit. Like I said, I like this concealed carry concept. I like to tie it together with the lasers. So boom. And then we go down to the range, and everything we're doing just comes naturally. I don't have to think about it. I've already practiced good technique here. Finger off of the gun, off the trigger, until I'm ready to present downrange. Okay? So, like I said, that is the dry fire laser technique that I use. I think right here, as you've watched, it's probably been a couple hundred shots. So I'm practicing the presentation, I'm practicing the physical skill of manipulating the trigger, and I have to say it one more time. As you manipulate the trigger, the key is to not disturb the sight picture. And you can see that with these lasers, because there's no bang, recoil, and all that stuff. So as you pull the trigger, you're looking for a nice crisp dot. If it starts to get blurry, that's because you're moving the gun as you pull the trigger. And if you noticed, as we got to the third round of those three-shot drill, it was getting a little sloppy. My finger was getting tired. It's getting harder. The times were getting slower. So it was a little slower between beeps. So, you want to, like I said, you work yourself up to that. So we get, how fast can you do 3? Now, there are people who can do faster. So All you got to do is practice. Last thing, of course, is the safety message. We are using ammunition. Okay, do not dry fire with live ammo, just because you want the weight of the magazine. It's really, really important that you buy the ammunition. How's that? Okay, there's my sales pitch. Because if you're going to practice, you want to simulate everything as it's going to be out in the real world. So I want to have the real weight of a magazine, and that's why I use the ammunition, because it doesn't have any powder or primer or anything. It's just really based upon the weight is what I'm looking for the magazine. So that said, let's go down to the range and do this in real life. Okay, we're down here in the range number 3, which is our shoot rooms. Now, we don't shoot down lanes here at the GlockStore, Shoot 270 ranges in Nashville. We shoot in what we call combat rooms or shoot rooms that allow you to shoot at multiple targets in multiple directions. You're basically in the room by yourself with an instructor, and you get to shoot, some really dynamic stuff versus just shooting a single static target down a single lane. So that's what separates us from just every other shooting range around, really in the whole country, is that we have these individual private, and that's another key factor, shoot rooms that allow you to do all kinds of fun things. So I'm going to be shooting today, just like we did upstairs in the training room with a laser. I'm going to shoot 3 targets and basically do the same drill. I'm not going to shoot all 144 shots, okay? I'm going to just shoot one pass through, so it'd be 36 shots. So it's 1 shot left to right, 1 shot right to left, 2 shots, 2 shots, 2 shots, and then 3 shots and 3 shots, so I can get through the whole thing. So I'm shooting today a Glock 45, okay? I love this gun, and the reason I like this gun is because it has the 17 grip with the 19 upper, okay? So it's very concealable, but at the same time, I get a full purchase on that grip, which I really like. Now, the 19 is, basically the most popular handgun in the Glock lineup. Really close is the 43X, of course, but the 19 is really popular. So it's really about concealment, but the grip factor has always been a concern for some people with big hands. So they went with this Glock 45, which is perfect because it has the full-size 17 grip and the 19 concealable, should I say, slide. And again, it fits nicely in the holster. Boom, boom. Comes out as you want it to and all that stuff. It does have our pyramid trigger, okay? It does have our tungsten guide rod, okay? So it's very important that you practice with what you are going to carry out in the real world, that you shoot all the time. I'm using here the XD sights. These are Trijicon XD. You can see basically, if you can line that up a little bit, you'll see that there's a big orange dot out front here, which is really good. It's a wider U in the back. It's good for fast combat style shooting, okay? It's not like a precision sight. You can still shoot 25, 30 yards with it easy, but the concept here is that it's really designed for fast target acquisition because of that big dot and because of the wider U, and I really like it. It's been one of my favorites. Also, extended controls here. This is our extended magazine release button. I've got it in red, checkered. It's really cool. I like it a lot. It does allow you to manipulate the button better. The other thing we have is our extended slide stop for Gen 5, which is ambidextrous, so it goes on either side. You can see it has a little extension on the little button there that allows you to manipulate the controls better. Extended controls, so I can actually sweep that down and go. So pyramid trigger, boom, love that. Short, crisp, light, tight. All right, so here we go. We're going to shoot these things. I don't have a timer here today. I encourage you to use a timer, because timers are good because they basically give you a relative time frame on which you're shooting, and also see that, hey, I tried this and it went faster, or I tried that and I was slower, and you'll figure it out. You can try it with different pieces of equipment as well. That's one of the nice things. Eyes and ears, yes, he does. Okay, good. So we're going to go ahead and charge up and shoot our first round. So I've got 3 magazines loaded up, ready to go. Again, my goal here is to keep everything inside of the diamond, have some pretty fast times, practice technique, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, we want to be as high up on that gun as possible. I want that left hand to intersect right here on all that empty spot with the gun, okay? I want to have as much meat on the gun as possible, and then I want to grasp that right hand with my left hand. Okay, that's a really important feature here, okay? So I'm squeezing that right hand on there, leaving that right hand a little bit loose. In a sense, it's about 80%, but that allows me to manipulate the trigger faster. All right, if I get too tight here, my trigger finger kind of freezes up too. So it's really about 80, 85% here, and 1,000% with that left hand. And that's going to give me the ability to shoot multiple shots and not have that gun jump all over the place, but also to not disturb the sight picture as I manipulate the trigger. All right, that's where most accuracy problems happen. All right, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and charge up. Yep, looks good, feels good. And like I said, don't have a timer. I'm just going to go. Now, right to left. All right, a couple misses there. That's pretty sloppy. Let's change up now, 2 shots. You can see some of my double taps. This is what I'm talking about. Boom. Nice and tight. A lot of that is the grip. All right. Here, I could feel the grip getting a little bit. As I came across, I actually felt the gun slip in my hand on that second shot. It wasn't quite perfect, so I got to really focus on this left hand. All right, now 3 shots. Let's change the magazine out. Left hand, left hand, left hand. Oh, just how'd that happen? Ran out of bullets. All right. Empty gun. All right, so, again, we're at close distances. All right, a lot of people are going to say, so close, what the heck? Yeah, but, bottom line is I want to be close. I want to go fast. If you can't shoot them fast close, you're not going to shoot them fast far. So practice close, and then push yourself a little bit and move back, make it more challenging, because it will be more challenging. All right? I've got good groups. Boom, I'm happy with all this stuff. These flyers, they bother me. But again, in self-defense, these are good hits, okay? They're all center of mass. I've got one flyer up here, but everything else here is pretty good. And as I'm painting that target, I can see that some of those shots are snake eyes right next to each other, which is what we're looking for. So I feel good about that. Now, if I wanted to get more challenging, I would move back a little bit, or I could rearrange the targets, or I could put some barricades here and shoot around things and move a little bit. And of course, I can also draw from concealment and go. So the concept is, you push yourself as far as you can. I didn't want to shoot a whole lot of shots here because it's going to just make this video too long. But that's the kind of practice I do. I do that laser fire, like I said, 2-3 times a week sometimes, not every week, but as much as I can. I do have it in my office, so every once in a while I'll pick the gun up and just shoot, doorknobs. It's kind of fun. At least I got the gun in my hand, and I'm training my eyes to see that front sight, and I'm training my hands to put that front sight in my line of sight. Okay, that's the concept. Boom, there it is. Every time that front sight comes right up to where it's supposed to be, and it nestles itself in the rear notch. And that's because of the laser fire upstairs. Okay, that's the secret. Every top competition shooter that I've ever met, and I've met a lot of them, the best guys in the world, they all say dry fire is the master key to learning how to shoot well. And when you pair it with a laser, it takes dry fire to the next level. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you've learned a little bit. Thanks for watching. I'm Lenny McGill. This, of course, is the GlockStore Performance and Custom Shop here in Nashville. You can see we've got combat shoot rooms, okay? Something really fun, really different. So if you come to Nashville, schedule a session, come on in and shoot. We've got guns to shoot, so if you come in from out of town, you don't want to bring your gun, we've got guns. Yes, we do. We've got custom guns to shoot, too. It's a lot of fun. You can play all this fun stuff that we do to be able to push yourself to that next level. We've got trainers who are going to take you to that next level. Bottom line is it's much more dynamic than shooting down a lane. So thanks for watching. I'm Lenny McGill. I hope to see you here in Nashville sometime. Next time.